Hey guys, welcome back to Trading with Sarah. I hope you guys are all doing great. So in today's video, I'm just going to do a quick analysis of the price of Bitcoin. It's been a while since I've made one of these videos. So yeah, a lot has happened in the price of Bitcoin over the past few weeks. I've been observing the market. It's just that I haven't really gotten the chance to make video. So yeah, but today I have some time. So that's why I'm making this video. All right. So let's get started. I want to just talk about, first of all, what has happened in the price of Bitcoin, and then talk about what is happening and what could happen in the next coming days or so. So number one, let me go to the weekly time frame. As you may notice on my chart here, I have a lot of lines here. It may look horrifying to you, but actually to me, they all make sense. I'm not going to explain all these lines here because it's just going to be too much details. But based on my analysis, okay, we can see here that Bitcoin was in this downward trend line. Okay, let's focus on the blue, this blue downward trend line here. Okay, let me make it big. Okay, you see this blue downward trend line. Okay, so Bitcoin was trading below that. Okay, this was acting as resistance up until over here back in January 2023, January 16, Bitcoin actually ended up breaking that resistance. Okay, once Bitcoin was able to break that resistance, it now got the strength to start pumping higher, and this is what we see. Bitcoin, the moment it broke out from here, it began pumping. Before pumping though, it did come back to dump and retested that resistance as support, and then now it got the strength to push higher. And once it began this pump, it started forming upward trend line. Okay, now the first one was obviously this one in yellow, which I have here on the chart. Okay, this yellow upward trend line. Okay, so Bitcoin was using that as support for a while. Okay, from January all the way to like June. Actually, no, to August. So Bitcoin was using it as support from January of last year, 2023, all the way to August of 2023. Bitcoin was using it as support until it ended up breaking that upward trend line. Okay, it broke that trend line. Once it broke it, it dropped all the way to 25,000 or 24,000. And then from there, it just went sideways for quite some time. After that sideways movement, Bitcoin once again was able to now break the resistance. Okay, it had resistance between 30,000 and 32,000. Bitcoin actually broke that resistance. And because of that break of that resistance, it's been able to pump higher. But it's honestly, it's not because Bitcoin broke 32,000 that it was able to pump higher. The reason why Bitcoin has been able to pump higher is because it broke out, okay, because it broke out of this downward trend line. Okay, it broke out of this downward trend line, the one in blue. Because of that, that's why Bitcoin has been able to pump. Okay, the main price target, or should I say the first price target, once Bitcoin breaks out of this downward trend line, is actually at around 47,000. That's actually the first price target, and the second price target is actually sitting at around 68,000. Okay, so this is why, even though Bitcoin broke out of this yellow upward trend line, it still managed to pump higher. It's because it still has this downward trend line that it had to respect. Okay, so that's what has happened. The other thing that I have on my chart here is actually this green upward trend line support. Yeah, so this is another support that Bitcoin has on the weekly time frame. You can see here that, when Bitcoin was falling, from 69,000, right? We were in this downward trend line. It was just going, creating lower highs and lower lows. And then the moment Bitcoin got to 15,000, it just stopped dropping, right? And from there, it began going sideways, and then suddenly it started pumping, right? So when Bitcoin did that, when it stopped pumping from 15,000 and started pumping, that level now became a support for Bitcoin. I was able to connect that low from the low of, back here, back in 2020, okay? Yeah, I was able to connect that low to this low, and then it got me to connect this trend line here. So I see that now this green trend line is going to act as support for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin ever decides to dump back down, okay, it's going to find support anywhere along this green trend line. It's going to find strong support, because this support enabled Bitcoin to actually pump from where it is, from 15,000 to where it is right now, 46,700. That's a huge amount of pump. So you better believe that if Bitcoin was to ever dump back down, just know that it will find support anywhere along this trend line. This could be, it depends where it starts falling, right? It could be 29,000, it could be 33,000. So I can't really give you an exact number until the moment I see Bitcoin come near that trend line, okay? So yeah, this is what has happened. And right now we can see the other thing that Bitcoin had on its way here, it's actually this resistance here. This is another resistance which I was able to draw on my chart. Now I'm talking about this red one. Okay, I'm going to make it big so you guys can see. So this red trend line that I have here, this was another resistance Bitcoin had on its way. And this is one of the reasons why you see here the past few weeks, Bitcoin has been struggling to break above 46,000, because this red downward trend line was acting as resistance. Now, one of the reasons why Bitcoin has now been able to pump to where it is right now, 46,700, is because you can see it actually ended up breaking that resistance, okay? Let me zoom in closer so you guys can see, okay? You can see here, we got rejected here, we got rejected here, rejected. We got rejected at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, right? This candle here, we attempted breaking it, but we actually ended up closing back. I think, yeah, we ended up, like, there was a lot of manipulations that happened around here, but you can see right now Bitcoin has actually broken this resistance, and this is why it is where it is right now. So what's going to happen now in the price of Bitcoin? Now that Bitcoin has broken this downward resistance, okay, where it is heading, I believe, is now around 48,000, okay? 47,000, 48,000 is where the next major resistance is on the horizontal level. Okay, horizontal level, we have resistance between 47,000 and 48,000. So what I'm seeing happening is that Bitcoin is most likely going to head to 48,000. And then from there, we might start seeing some dump in the price of Bitcoin. We might potentially dump all the way back down to 44,000. There's a high chance that might happen, because anytime Bitcoin breaks a downward trend line, sometimes it does not just start pumping. Sometimes it will just end up dumping back down. So there's a chance once we get to 48,000, we are going to dump back down to at least 44,000, 45,000, anywhere around there, okay? And then now, in order for Bitcoin to actually be able to continue pumping higher, okay, to the next resistance that follows 48,000, we need to basically get a daily candle closing above 40, I would say like 48,500. If we get a daily candle close above 48,500, then we'll be able to pump higher. And yeah, this is all for the analysis. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more videos.